Morning, guys. I'm just going to do a video about what I'm looking for the week ahead. Analysis does usually change, so let's just kind of get into it. Dollar, really quick. Came into this 4 hourly zone, which I was talking about. It was actually this whole zone. You can see we tested the wick, which is nice to see. This is that sell to buy movement. So now all I'm really kind of looking for is to see if price is going to potentially head back into this zone, if we're going to break it, or if we're actually going to start heading potentially back down and filling in areas within here. So obviously next week is really going to determine what price does want to do. But so far I'm definitely looking for this kind of move up here. So that could potentially mean some weakness XXX USD. So that's what I'm looking for dollar. US 30, US 30 took a minor loss on Friday in here. That's fine. Potentially looking for the second POI, which is what I'm looking for. This was the one that actually mitigated at this 15-minute whole move. You can see once we mitigated out there, we broke the lows. So now I'm kind of just looking for potentially this area to get tested and then have that continuation lower and take out these lows. If we do fail that, I do potentially think we could run this wick one more time and potentially come a little bit deeper into this order and then actually have that continuation a little bit lower. So two potential outcomes. If we do fail and we do break higher, I am just going to keep monitoring. And I do think that we could maybe and potentially come into this zone here. You can see this is our test. This is our breaker structure. So now we're kind of just waiting to see if we're going to get a move like this or if we're going to come up a little bit deeper and head back down. But I'm only going to really focus on these first two POIs for the time being. And then from there, we'll kind of reevaluate and see kind of what happens. So US 30, potentially looking at two POIs. I did get an entry here. Price came down, closed out, but we could potentially just run this one more time. NAS, we've just been super bullish at this current point. We did trade into our first POI, but I noticed that if we take the 50% of this daily, you can see this lines up really nice. And I do have this 4 hourly POI here. You can see we did run just the highs and then we kind of collapsed from here. So again, kind of like US 30, I think we could potentially run the high and then actually start heading back down into potential more discounted prices. We did not actually get a film of this area. We flipped. This was kind of the zone that caused this big imbalance move. So I do want to see if we could get that. I do know that we did trade into a 4 hourly POI, but that doesn't mean to say that price could not trade back down a little bit lower. But first of all, I'm potentially just looking for this first POI. So far, we haven't broken above this high. So if we do actually break above this high, that is going to be something that I'm looking for. Again, we actually haven't really broken above this whole zone. We wicked past it. I don't class these as breaks. So I do want to kind of see what does happen, even if we just come in and fill this first area of imbalance within this point. That is going to be still in and around the first POI that I'm kind of looking for short moves. So definitely an area to kind of be looking out for. Euro USD. Euro USD on the daily basically came right back up into this last final wick. So now it's going to be really to see what we're going to do from this point. You can see we've broken structures and we go to 4 hour. You can see with broken structures, looking for potential discounted prices to maybe take this long or maybe take this short. I do have a couple POIs that I'm looking for. If we run lower, then I'm going to look for some buys. But if we run higher, either into here or here, that's then when I'm going to look for the run back down into this POI, because for me, this is kind of the big one where there was a lot of news and when we kind of caused that first kind of pump. Yes, we did trade into this move here, but I'm not really classing this as anything, to be honest with you. It's not really a swing for me. It's kind of just like a halt in the market. This, you can see actually I pulled back and then we expanded. This for me is just nothing more than kind of just a generation of liquidity. That price actually just eventually kind of came through. So I've got potentially 3 outcomes that I'm looking for. I'm not really favoring this one as much just because of the highs and just because of the imbalance we do have resting within that point. But I am going to wait and see what kind of moves we do get, mostly from this high point. You can see that 786 fib lines up really, really nicely with this candle and just that slight imbalance. So that is what I'm looking for Euro USD. AU, we ran all of the highs. All in here, we came and tested small candle in here. I did go over this in my last video. Now I'm kind of really just looking for that short continuation. On the 4-hourly, we are below our 50 EMA. So I do want to see if that can start coming down, if we can get a test. And that continuation back down lower, take out this Asian low at 2 o'clock, and also to fill this gap still, which is resting in here. This is where the gap actually is. You can see price is not yet filled, all of it. So that is what I'm looking for. Just simple kind of looking for that correction and then that impulse again. You can see this is our impulse. This is potentially now a correction to now just looking for that impulse again. And an impulse and correction is nothing more than just a Wyckoff. It's just manipulation, 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 and then we have that crash. So that is kind of what I am looking for. You can refine this probably on that hourly into this kind of move, or even refine it a little bit lower. To be honest with you, I do, there we go, into the term. Yeah, so you could even refine this all the way back up into here. Personally, I do like to refine, but I don't like to refine too much because it's really frustrating when price kind of just wicks and then just doesn't actually come into the order, because we could actually just fill just slight a bit this imbalance and we might not actually fill this. So it was always kind of good just to have like a bit of breathing room on your trades. So that is kind of what I'm looking for on AU. Final targets of the lows. Actually, no, that's a lie. My final targets are going to be into this daily supply that actually come off the back of COVID. Well, actually, no, it came off the back of the test that happened through COVID. So that is kind of the move that I do want to see coming down a little bit lower. So we could potentially have second targets at around 157 pips. But for the time being, I'm just going to focus on that Asian low. I really do want to see some kind of moves from there or any trades back into there. I am just going to do my, some people have asked me what are these lines on my chart. These are literally just the days of the week, and it's just personal preference. I just like to do it so I can actually see how the market's moving in the day or in the week as well. Personal preference. Euro GBP, I'm not really looking at anything too amazing. We have this potential POI in here, but I'm looking at that as a potential run of liquidity. I'm still kind of looking for this 30-minute last up move. You can see we ran, so any kind of move back up into here for some shorts is kind of what I would favor. Just because I favor it doesn't mean it's going to happen. Excuse me. We do have this London low. and we do have this New York low down here. So if we do kind of break this, then I do want to kind of see just that run and continuation a little bit lower. Nothing really too much. I will keep everyone updated. And then the last POI, or last market, not POI, is GA. GA, we've just been super bullish, and I definitely think we could trade higher into areas kind of within here. We are breaking higher, so it's really not off the table. So far, you can see pullback, break structure, high, lower, low, lower, high, higher, high, sorry, not lower, low. This is kind of my area of my fib, which is where I'm looking for. And you can see targets are obviously higher up. If we do get some potential shorts going into the week, that is going to be nice to see. Off a 15-minute, you can see Asian high we ran going into New York. We're testing. We swiftly sweat this high, and we have a lot of liquidity resting in the form of lows in here. So any kind of move back down, I do want to see a break below this low, look for some pullbacks, and then we can get potentially that short move back down into our demand zone, which happened a few weeks ago. You can see you could have refined this if price does want to come back down to here, but there could be some refinement into that hourly. But I do really want to see this low broken first and then actually do something about that. So if you guys got any questions about any of these, please let me know. Feel free to fire away, and I will help all of you as much as I can. All right, guys.